Would you want Andrew Tate to be the next Prime Minister of the UK? And for all those that may be thinking it, this is not a joke. Hey up everyone and welcome to Political Nerds. I'm Steph the Alter Nerd, your nerdy political guide from Washington DC to Westminster and beyond. In today's video, I'm going to discuss Andrew Tate's bid to be the next Prime Minister of the UK with his newly launched political party called BRUV. Now, as a disclaimer, I'm not inciting hatred to anyone, a particular group, religion, etc. So yeah, let's jump into it with this. The BRUV Party with Andrew Tate, Britain restoring underlying values. That is what BRUV stands for as an acronym. And yeah, this is Andrew Tate's new political party that he just launched in the last 24 hours. Now, when I initially saw this, I'll be very honest with you, I thought he was trolling a little bit. I thought perhaps this may have been like satire, some kind of political satire that he was trying to make like a really good point doing it. But guys, this is not satire. This is not a joke. The more I've looked into it, the more I'm convinced he is serious about this, guys. He released a flurry of tweets within the last 24 hours. And here are just some that I've picked out here. So here he's saying, look, Prime Minister Andrew Tate, I'm coming to save my home. I'm coming to save Great Britain. Now, regardless of what you think of him, right? Whether you think he's good, bad, whether you support him as a person or not, right? Okay. One thing is for certain that I do agree with Andrew Tate on. Great Britain needs saving. It really, really does. It's going to the dogs at the moment, to coin a phrase. And it is not good. It's got to the point where a lot of us are actually scared to speak out against the government and what they're doing. As you may have noticed at the beginning of this video, I had to put a disclaimer in. Why? Because the government is literally arresting and jailing people for saying or tweeting hurty words on the internet. And so, yeah, regardless of what you think of Andrew Tate, I do agree that, yeah, Great Britain definitely needs to be saved from the tyrant that is Keir Starmer, otherwise known as two-tier Keir. Now, speaking of two-tier Keir, Andrew Tate, he's doubling in on this. He's like, look, he's already replaced. I'm taking his job. This is not a joke. Like, he's really doubling down in all of this. And then he goes on and says, look, I've not slept since announcing my political ambitions. Party announcement and manifesto release shortly. And stay tuned for my next video because he has actually since released his manifesto. So we're going to go through it and we're going to see, would Andrew Tate be a candidate that you would actually vote for? Interesting question, no? He says, people of Great Britain, help is coming. Hold out for the cavalry. Don't give up. I will be the Prime Minister. He's showing a lot of determination right there, which anyone that knows Andrew Tate or has watched Andrew Tate, he's got determination fighting out of him for days, really, at this point, right? And so let's get on to the next tweet. Far right doesn't scare anybody. We are simply right. We are taking our nations back. And to me, this is in direct response to what Keir Starmer said in the last 24 hours when he publicly spoke out about the whole backlash as to how the government and certain authorities have actually dealt with, or in some cases covered up, it might have been a conspiracy theory or whatever, the whole grooming gang scandal. And what Keir Starmer said, essentially, as far as I'm concerned, is that anyone that's speaking out against it, right? Anyone that's speaking out against how the government and the authorities handled it, this, that, and the other, are basically jumping on the bandwagon and are far right. Well, as far as I'm concerned, Andrew Tate has a really good point here. The far right moniker doesn't scare anybody anymore because we're seeing right through it. We're seeing that when Keir Starmer and his like accuse us of being far right, what they're trying to do is scare us into submission, but more sinisterly, scare us into silence. But that's not happening anymore. And Andrew Tate, what he's doing here, quite cleverly, may I add, using a little bit of linguistic analysis, is he's turning it on its head and saying, don't scare anybody because we are simply right. Could you really disagree with that? Regardless of what you think about Andrew Tate in other areas, right? Could you really disagree with that notion? He then goes on and goes a little bit more deeper now in terms of what he believes and the direction in which the UK should be going. And he says, look, to avoid British establishment corruption, international prosecutors will be instructed to raise cases against every member of government and police officer that allowed our children to be RAPED. Now, please bear in mind that this is on YouTube as well. And for those that don't know, YouTube Human Reviewer does not like certain words being said. Otherwise, they will limit this video and it won't go out to as many people as this really needs to go out to, okay? So please bear that in mind. He then says the case will be televised for full transparency of the facts. These scum must prove themselves innocent in court or face the full force of the law. And I'm just asking for a friend here. Could you really disagree with Andrew Tate on that score? For anyone, right, who covered up the grooming scandal, whether they were in government, council, in the police, or any other kind of authority, right? For anyone that covered it up or obstructed justice for the victims, right? Don't you agree that they should face the full force of the law? That they should be tried in a court of law? I agree with that, don't you? And then Andrew Tate follows on to the whole immigration issue. And to be fair, I'm sorry, but he's pretty much saying what's all in our heads. Boats will be leaving, none will be arriving, Prime Minister Tate. Because we are literally screaming out for the boats to stop crossing over the English Channel. That if anyone wants to seek asylum in the UK, by all means, go nuts, go for it. But it must be done in the legal way. There is a legal route, the right way to do it. Crossing the English Channel on a dinghy just ain't it. It just really isn't. And so would you disagree with Andrew Tate on that? I know I wouldn't. And here, Andrew Tate is clipped here by Tip of Wudan. So thank you so much to Tip of Wudan for sharing this on Twitter. And he explains his rationale behind stopping the boats coming over on the English Channel. So here we go.
That doesn't make you fucking racist. It makes you very sensible. It's like saying, here's 10 chocolate bars, 2 are poison. Do you want to eat one? What kind of fucking retard would go, well, only 20% of them kill people, so I guess the other 80% are fine. Everyone should just hand out the chocolate bars. No, you wouldn't hand them out to fucking 10 random people because you understand that if some are poisonous, none can be eaten because it's impossible to know which ones are poisonous. And it's exactly the same with letting in fuckers who do not respect British life, do not respect British culture, because they're not adding very much to the country, but they're certainly taking things away, like 3 little girls' lives.
The problem is, right, that everyone that's coming across on these boats, right, the majority of them, by my understanding, they don't have any papers on them. We don't know where they've come from. We don't really know who they are. We don't know their true ideology. We don't know if they would comfortably and rightly integrate within British society, British culture, and British law. And so there has to be this whole kind of revamp of the whole immigration process, whereby these people that are coming in are rigorously tested to see if they do fit in to the British culture and British law. And at the moment, we really don't know that. We don't. And so then we're seeing it on our streets. Time and time again, we're seeing it in the news. Knife attacks, predominantly. And who are they being committed by? Do your own research. Come to your own conclusions on that. But if these boats are stopped, let's put it this way, those particular crimes will be decreasing. That is for sure. And so then Andrew Tate on Twitter goes on to say, look, to beat them, you have to be ready to die. I've said all that needs saying with my name and face public for years. I've paid the price and did not back down. I did not shut up despite endless threats. I'm ready to face the bullets for history to remember me restoring a great nation. Boats will leave the UK. None will arrive. I swear it on my name. And again, what's wrong in him saying that? When the majority of British people, when you look at the polls, are saying the same thing. We want the boats to be stopped. They need to stop. Again, if people want to come over and immigrate to Britain, by all means, go nuts. But there's the legal and right way to do it, and they have to follow those rules. It's as simple as that, just like everyone else. And if you think that Andrew Tate is just essentially just targeting one type of immigrant here, right? You've got another thing coming. Because here, he says, look, the UK will not be a tool for Islamists or Zionists. Both will be rejected. Both interest groups aim to extract value from the nation to use as a pawn on their board. We are restoring Great Britain to what she once was, a Christian nation with proud people. And any Muslim who lives within her must respect that, much like Christians must respect that Dubai is Islamic. It's very easy for religions to coexist with a strong culture and rule of law. And we are restoring British culture. It will feel like England in 1995 again, and anyone who has a problem with that can get out. But he goes in further. He says, look, in majority Filipino areas of the UK, it must look and feel British. In majority Indian areas of the UK, it must look and feel British. In majority Jewish areas of the UK, it must look and feel British. In majority African areas of the UK, it must look and feel British. Immigrate, expect to adapt to British culture, no matter how small the norm. We like quiet Sunday mornings. Problem? Leave. You respect British culture, standards of hygiene and social norms. You operate within our parameters. Multiple complaints to the contrary, visa revoked. You do not bring your own culture. Your culture already has a home. Ours does too, and it's Great Britain. If you miss the culture of your host nation, go home. And so, for anyone thinking, well, do you know what? Andrew Tate is just launching his political party just to target the Muslim population in the UK. No, he's not. And for all those that are saying, oh, well, you know, he's on the side of the Zionists. No, he doesn't seem like it. Now, again, whichever side of the political spectrum that you're on, whatever you think about Andrew Tate, good, bad, you support him, you don't support him, right? All I'm doing really at the end of the day is showing you guys what he's saying on Twitter. And when I look at it from you know, a perspective where, you know, I'm playing devil's advocate here, taken away my bias against Andrew Tate, because I do have some thoughts about him, to be fair. A lot of what he's saying, really, just based on the surface level alone, to me, seems fine. You come to Britain, you submit to British values and British law. You don't try and change it at all. Okay, bring your culture over, fair play, but then don't try and use that culture to make British people submit to you in any way, shape or form. That's just not how it's supposed to work. Now, this is the thing. Andrew Tate even addresses the controversy surrounding him. He says, look, love me or hate me, nobody will say I did not deliver. My personality has nothing to do with this. Politics over politician. I will enact the charter instantly and without delay. If you agree with the charter, you can hate me and still win. And so, guys, in my next video, not to be missed, I'm actually going to go through his charter. He has released his BRUV Manifesto. Let's go through it in a little bit more detail, because on the surface level, looks like Andrew Tate is saying a lot of things that a lot of us are really thinking of, right? As an example, stop the boats. If you're going to come to this country, then you have to submit and follow British culture and law. Do not try and intimidate and try and change British culture and law using your own culture. Live within our own parameters. Live peacefully with us, and you've got a good thing going. Don't, and you're out of here. I don't see anything wrong with him saying that. But he has just released his BRUV Manifesto. So let's look a little bit more underneath the surface in my next video here on Political Nerds. And let's see if we still potentially agree with him further when we look at more of the details as to where he stands on all these issues. With that being said, if you appreciated this video and you want more, and like I just said, of course, there's going to be more. Stay tuned for my next video. Then make sure you subscribe to join the Alter Nerd tribe here on Political Nerds. Like, share, comment down below. Based on what I've just shown you from some of Andrew Tate's tweets, do you agree with him? Disagree with him? Let me know. And with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate all your faces. Until the next time, you guys. Laters.